listening to The Mark Cox Show. Follow the show on Facebook, facebook.com/The Mark Cox Show.
You're not supposed to laugh at that. But
It's a duck call. It sounds funny.
did I do it right?
I don't know. It made noise. I assume you're doing it right.
That is my official Duck Commander duck call. When I was on the cruise campaign, Mr. Duck Commander, I can't think of his name right now, was a supporter of Ted Cruz. Phil Robertson was a supporter of Ted Cruz, and at one of the rallies, he had a box full of them, and he passed them out to everyone. So
please clap.
No more clapping. We'll just do duck calls now.
Exactly.
We got that.
Chris Prudhome is our next guest. Chris, I am a serious person if you're listening and hearing this, but Chris Prudhome is the president of the Vote America Now project, and Chris comes with over 12 years of experience in marketing, communications, politics, and youth voter outreach. And let me get the rest of this thing. Vote America Now. Vote America Now engages millennials and minorities in the civic process at the local, state, and national levels. Our voices and participation are critical to addressing the serious yet solvable challenges facing current and future generations. And we're going to have Chris on to talk about his organization and talk about the issue that's been pretty big here in Missouri is voter ID and across the country. How are you, Mr. Prudhome?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you, Chris. How are you?
Good. Hey, man, you got a great name. Love your name.
I know, right? I appreciate it. So do you.
Thanks. So tell us a little bit about Vote America Now.
So I think you pretty much sums it up best, but in short, Vote America Now focuses on millennials and minorities and just having us as a voice of reason to be able to engage millennials and minorities to be more understanding of the process itself. Last year, our main focus was obviously the presidential election.
Sure.
And we did over 12 presidential town halls with 12 different candidates and basically, of course, engage millennials and minorities to understand what the issues are. And, of course, this year we're more focused on issue-based and relationships and bridging the gap between millennials and, of course, minorities with elected officials. Because, as you know, they make up about 45% of the electorate, so but yet they don't vote. So our key is to get more millennials engaged, but not just to vote, but to actually understand the process, and so that they can make informed and educated decisions.
Because what we've seen traditionally is that the millennial generation and minorities typically don't come out and vote, especially in midterm elections. And next year will be a midterm election. What are some of the tactics that you're using to get these voters engaged in midterm elections?
Well, frankly, that really has not been a major focus just yet. Kind of early on, right now we're focused on just getting them more engaged in education and informative process. Right now, I think if you look at President Obama, a lot of people were engaged in him, but they weren't necessarily engaged in politics. With President Trump now, I think a lot of people are now engaged in the political process and politics itself. So I personally think that we'll have one of the largest turnout and we've ever had before in midterms. I think because more people are engaged, but now that they are engaged, we want to look at ways to get them to understand issues, and not just say, "Hey, go out and vote for because your X, Y, Z told you so," but actually go out and vote because you understand the issues, you understand the ballot measures, and you understand the officials who are in front of you.
Now, I know you're probably a nonpartisan organization. What are you seeing? Are you seeing the minorities and millennials? Are they tending to lean towards a more particular political philosophy? Are they kind of open-minded, where they want to look at both political philosophies and kind of make up their mind? What are you seeing?
Well, the key thing is this. We have to be open-minded, just kind of like what the Bible talks about. You have to be open to receive, and if you're open to receive, it doesn't matter what the message that he has for you. So that being the case, we want to first get people's minds open to receive. I mean, obviously, traditionally, more millennials have been more liberal than anything else. That we traditionally know, but the key is to get you to be able to receive. When you look at, honestly, frankly, when you look at a lot of Christian values, it honestly does align with conservative issues, completely align. But that's not really taught or educated or made aware, I guess you could say, in the most black churches when it comes to minorities, at least. So these are the type of things that, just we want to instill them, not just because your mom said, your dad said, your grandma said, but we want them to be independent thinkers and make decisions on their own and actually be able to come up with viable concepts on themselves.
Voter ID has been pilloried, all around the country as a device to tamp down minority voters. But the facts have shown that in every place that voter ID has been instituted, the percentage of African American and minority voters has actually gone up. So does your organization take a position on voter ID? Because, if you have to have a voter ID to vote and be involved in the process, I would think that would help you, be more engaged in the process.
Yes or no. To answer your first question, we have not taken a position on voter ID at this time.
Mm-hmm.
There are 33 states with voter ID laws, including 12 that are, considered strict, so to speak. Obviously, there's a major gap between white and Latino and white and black in turnout, but really turnout's nearly pretty much doubled, according to research. But the reality is that voter ID is one of those tough laws and tough subjects that you kind of walk a fine line on. As I understand both parties, you look at the potential of duplicates and fraud voter registration. I mean, there's so many different avenues to it. And then you have some states who want to have people opt out as opposed to opting in, like in California, where I'm from. At the DMV, you have to sign up to register to vote. Versus other states, I believe, like Oregon, you have to opt out. So there's different things that I think we can enhance to get people more engaged in the process, to get more enthusiastic and actually be more involved in the process. But voter ID laws, honestly, can be very, very tough. I mean, there's numerous cases I've seen with elderly people that didn't have their driver's license and they couldn't. I mean, so it varies on. I think it varies on case by case, but overall, it's one of the things that I think have to be closely monitored. And frankly, there's a particular party that tries to use it for political reasons, and I think both kind of take from it. But I think it's just important that we all have to kind of come back down as human beings, and I think that's part of the problem with this process. We haven't really been human beings in this whole process. Even if you look at the tweet the other day with Tom Perez, newly elected DNC chair, I mean, we're supposed to teach our kids how to be viable and efficient young Americans and good people and good stewards of society. But then we have look at the games, look at the games that are played. I mean, you have the new incoming DNC chair saying, "Don't call me, to you, don't, it's not time to you, it's, and I'm going to be your worst nightmare." Like, what does that say for
right.
young people? Like, what does that really say? I mean, what kind of message do we send and to respect a president, whether you like him or not? What kind of message do we send to be good stewards of society and respect people? And then we wonder why we have people running around crazy and doing things to other kids and bullying them. And when it comes to discussing Trump, whether they like him or not, that's not the point. The point is that our leaders should be examples and to set a precedent for how we respect each other in society. These are our political leaders.
Are you finding that rhetoric, like you expressed earlier, is that turning off the millennial voters? I saw a poll last week, which we're not going to see in the major media, but it said that 76% of Americans wanted the Democrats to treat the new president fairly and get his his cabinet members through and everything. And I've told people, I think Americans, regardless of what you think of Trump, are generally fair people and don't want to throw their new president under the bus after a month. They at least want to see what his policies are and how he's going to perform.
Look, at the end of the day, whether people like them or not, whether Republican, Democrat, we live in a society where we have to move things forward. We have to work together for solutions. And what it comes down to is being able to move forward and work together. So to your point, I think it is crucial. I think it's crucial to move things forward in society. And so at the end of the day, we got to come back down as human beings, and that's what we don't do. We don't work together. We don't follow each other as just basic people in society. And this is why we have this rhetoric going on. And this is why millennials are fed up and they're upset at the political process. This is why they're not engaged, because on one hand, you got understanders who were saying, "Hey, don't."
Chris, I hate to cut you off. We're coming up right against the clock, and I don't want it to automatically cut you off. Give us your website, so if people want to get in contact with you and help out your information, how can they reach you?
They can go to voteamericanow.com, voteamericanow.com, and that's the same for all of our social media handles.
Thank you, Chris. Sorry about that. I'm new at this, so I took it right up to the clock, but I appreciate your time, and I wish you all the success in the world with your project.
No problem. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you, Chris. And we'll be